Hey there, welcome. You're listening to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome to the big show. Thanks for being here. Do me a favor, tell a friend about the show, pass along. Our ratings are okay, but I don't want okay ratings. I don't want good ratings. I don't want above average ratings. I want to rule the airwaves. No, they need to be better than this, though. So yeah, tell somebody, if you don't mind. For my next story, this is one of our stories. This is gun people. Are you with me on this one? You're not going to like this. A judge has just ruled that undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens as they used to be called, now have the right to own guns. Well, at least we found somewhere where they're okay with gun ownership. I mean, not you silly, stinking, native-born American. You have to jump through hoops. You have to go to a federal firearms license dealer who has to jump through all kinds of hoops before they can even open the store and pay all kinds of taxes and sign up for all kinds of junk. Then you have to have a background check run on you. And if anything wrong pops back, you have to wait. My dad, who's like 70 billion years old, what is he, 73, 72, something like that? 72, yeah, 72. For his birthday, went and got an AR-15. It was from the guy who owns the store is a personal friend of mine. My dad was in Vietnam. Our government handed him a gun when he was 18 that has automatic capabilities above and beyond the gun he was trying to buy at 72. Sent him to a Southeast Asian vacation for a couple years because, yes, he re-enlisted. And now he has to have a background check to carry a semi-automatic version similar to the same gun, which I thought was crazy to begin with. Well, there was something wrong with the background check, and he had to wait. What was wrong with the background check? Nothing. It just didn't come back automatically, and anytime there's any kind of delay, well, then they put it on a hold, and you got to come back in 3 days. Well, we had to come back on Monday, and we were trying to buy it on a Friday, so I don't know if that was because they were closed or whatever. Or they didn't work on the weekends. So maybe it's just a day or the next business day or whatever. But I thought that was absolutely ludicrous. Of all the mass shootings that have happened, of all the murders that have happened with the AR-15, which is not a lot, it's less than like 3% of murders. How many of them have been done by some 72-year-old dude? Some 72-year-old Vietnam vet who can't walk 100 yards without having to bend over and put his hands on his knees. He's had like 8 heart attacks. He just wants to go out and do some target shooting for fun, and he wants to do it with a good gun. Not with the pea shooter, not with the little 22 pump action. He doesn't want to have to downgrade from the gun that the government gave him when he was 18 because now he can't handle the responsibility. As if in the last 55 years he got wildly irresponsible and dumber than he was. More irresponsible and dumber than he was when he was 18. It's just ludicrous to begin with. And then we have this story. The defendant's name in the case here, Carbajal Flores. I don't think he's Irish. I don't know where he illegally immigrated from. It might be Ireland. I don't know. But his criminal record did not include anything that had improper use of a weapon. There were nonviolent circumstances around his arrest. He didn't resist. There's no evidence to support that he poses a risk to public safety, that he couldn't be trusted to use a weapon responsibly. No, that's you, bud. That's you. So the firearm possession charge against an illegal immigrant got thrown out. And the judge says, no, if you're an illegal immigrant, you're allowed to carry a gun in this country. Okay. So let's extrapolate this out. And what are your first little pushbacks here? Because I know you're thinking, this doesn't sound right. Now, why doesn't it sound right? Well, number one, if my dad wants the gun of his choice, he had to go through all these hoops. This dude is not able to have a background check run on him because he's not a citizen. How does he pass a background check? How does he legally get a gun? Are you allowed to bring guns in over the border? And that's cool. As long as you bring it in from Mexico, it's all oxen free? Or is he doing some purchase? Now, you can escape the background check in the citizen world if it's a private transaction. If I decided to sell my gun to Sean on the other side of the glass, I don't have access to the database anyway, and as long as I'm not a federally licensed firearms dealer, I don't have to do all that. I can't open a store. I can't go mass buy guns and sell them and make a whole bunch of money off of it, go laugh into the sunset. But is that how this guy purchased his gun? Because that's the only way they could legally purchase their gun. So that's a weird little loophole. Thought that was interesting. And then if we're saying that the Second Amendment applies to everyone in the planet, does that mean all of our constitutional rights, all of our human rights, our full complement of rights gets to go to everybody on the planet, whether they're citizens or not? What about voting? Does that apply to everyone on the planet? Does it just apply to them if they're here? So anybody who strolls in gets their full complement of human rights. That's it. Their full complement of what used to be reserved for citizens. That was interesting. Can they file for Social Security? Here's the bad news. They already get all kinds of handouts from you. They get free education for their kids. They get free medical care if they go to the hospital. They get free transportation sometimes if they get arrested. And remember the cops that the illegals that beat up the cops in Times Square? They bailed out, got put on a plane to California. Why California? Why not Mexico? Well, we just had to get them out of here. All right, free travel. You paid for it. Are you okay with illegals carrying guns? Because this is sort of this is an interesting conundrum for many of my libertarian friends who think, well, this is one of the natural rights that the founding fathers talk about, rights that aren't given to you by a government or are given to you by a jurisdiction. You just own them by being a human. You are afforded them by being a human, which is speech, assembly, and the ability to defend yourself would be thrown in there. That's a good argument on why illegals should have guns. But I'm just, I find it fascinating that these people take such a libertarian approach to illegals having guns. But when you, American citizen, want to have a gun, well, we can't just let anybody have a gun. We got to run some background checks. And do you have any priors? And have you ever been arrested for domestic violence or DWI or anything slightly violent? Did you have drugs in your car and a gun at the same time? Well, that's a felony. And so there's all these other trigger laws, and they're not really cool with you having a gun. They're not really that open and libertarian about you having a gun, just these guys. That's interesting. Neat trick. A judge has ruled that undocumented immigrants can carry guns. And why not? This is America. We have freedom of speech. We have freedom of assembly. We have freedom of religion. We also have the freedom to carry guns whenever and wherever you want. Well, I mean, not whenever and wherever exactly. I mean, as long as you yourself have whatever the state certification is, whether it's a concealed carry or whatever license you got to have. And well, as long as you go past the background check, and as long as you don't have any flags on your history, and as long as you don't have any sort of record, and as long as you're not going to a school, other than that, you have your full complement of rights. Well, only if it's a certain kind of gun, then you do have. And as long as you're not going to a polling place, you're free. You have your full, you can carry freedom to defend yourself however you see. Well, unless you're going to a court or a racetrack or an airport or within 1,000 feet of an execution. Isn't that a weird one? You ever heard of that law before? Or unless you're going to a hospital. I mean, but as long as you're a citizen who doesn't have a record, can afford all of the setup, has your license, pass a background check, pay the taxes, pay for the gun, you're not going to a school, polling place, court, racetrack, airport, hospital, nursing home, amusement park, place of worship, government meetings, or any business or private property that prohibits carrying of handguns on their premises, you have your full complement of human rights. Illegal aliens? Hey man, just walk on in. You don't need a driver's license. You don't need any paperwork. Pay any taxes. Don't be silly. Is that cool with you? What do you think? Sean in Royce City, you're on the James Show. What do you think?
Hey James, what's up, buddy? All right, so help me out here. So we have a Constitution which consists of Bill of Rights, preamble, and all that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, for your libertarian friends out there, because I understand, hey, you know what? Self-defense is a right. I get it. No matter what country you're in or from. I get it. Now, other countries have constitutions also. They do not extend a lot of these constitutional rights to foreign dignitaries, to travelers, to anybody coming in illegal. As a matter of fact, it's very difficult to get into other countries illegally. So, when you look at our preamble, it says, we the people of these United States. Or, to put it a different way, the citizens. So if you're not a citizen, yes, you have the right to defend your life, but you need to have a background check like everybody else. You have to have, meet the criteria, basically. You know. Also, what I'm afraid is about to happen is these politicians are going to say, well, these illegal aliens are here, and in our Constitution, the people in the United States have the right to vote, so I guess these people can vote in a federal, because I know some states are already doing this, but they have the right to vote in a federal election. But then once these people, these illegal aliens, start, murdering people, because that's a lot of these people are coming from Venezuela, they opened up the floodgates from the
prisons,
from the jail. Yeah. They're going to start cracking down on the guns for the citizens of the United States.
It's a lose-lose for us. You're totally right. Thank you for calling in, Shauna. I'm going to take some more calls here. Gary in Aledo, you're next up on the James Show. What do you think about this?
Well, I think a lot of it's sort of crazy, but I wanted to touch base with you on the fact that your 75-year-old dad couldn't pick a gun up when he went to buy one. He got dinged and had to wait.
Yes.
I'm a police officer. I went into a gun store after 5 o'clock, and I'm wondering if y'all went after 5 o'clock on a Friday to buy a gun. I'm in uniform with a badge, wearing a gun, and I had to wait.
it's stupid. Listen.
That's what I said. In fact, I kind of dressed them down a little bit, and then I did a little investigation, and I found out why. The people at the DMV, which oversees all the background stuff, get off at 5. And if they get off at 5, there's no way to check if your fingerprints ding. And mine do, because as a police officer, my fingerprints are on file. And I'll bet, as a service member, your father's may have been too.
Listen. You people who say you're pro-gun, you people with the stickers on your car and whatever, I need you to listen to me. You're not pro-gun enough. We have to dismantle this background check system. We have to what's called the NICS or whatever the database is.
Right.
This is garbage. They can hand out guns basically to illegal immigrants, but we have to jump through hoops. No, it hasn't stopped crime. It hasn't had any effect on the availability of all the gangbangers in the downtowns of every major metropolitan area shooting up the place like Swiss cheese. The whole thing's a joke. And we see right through it, and we need to end it.
Well, and here's the sad part. If I had, and I didn't have it, because I was a police officer, I needed it, but I had a concealed carry license, and I'd been standing there in camo, covered in blood, holding a scalp in my left hand, I could have walked out with a gun that day because I had the concealed carry license.
That's an interesting metaphor you put up there, your little comparison. I love that, without using like or as a metaphor. Thank you, sir. I'm going to squeeze in one more. Lynn, Fort Worth, you're on the James Show. Make it quick, sir.
Yeah, I'm a retired police officer, and so since that judge ruling, I'm going to carry everywhere as I can as a retired police officer legally my weapon because all the illegals coming across the south border and stuff like that, you don't know where they're at. And for a side note, I'm 72 years old.
Good. We need more people carrying guns. We need more good guys with guns. Only good things can happen from that. And the fact that you're a retired police officer means clearly you're comfortable carrying it and whatnot. And listen, when people hear the conversation you and I just had, Lynn, and thank you very much for calling. When people hear that conversation that are anti-gun, they're like, so you just want everybody to carry a gun at all times? No. Listen, that's not what I said. You want teachers they have all these things they have to worry about. They have to worry about discipline, and they have to worry about their family, and they have to worry about grades, and they have to worry about all this. And you want to carry a gun too? No, I don't want you to carry a gun. I don't even want you to feel like you have to carry a gun. Just there are people out there who don't think guns are so scary. And if you could just get out of their way, if there's gun nuts out there and they love carrying guns and they love guns, let them do their thing. All of society will benefit. And all you people who think guns are scary and you're just a sweetheart little cupcake pacifist, you don't have to carry a gun. You don't have to protect anybody else. You can go lose every fight. You can just go be some defenseless, worthless little puppy dog out there. Just let the rest of us be the men and carry guns. That's all we're asking. None of these people on hold are want this, do they? Not one person. This is unanimous. This is kind of rare, even on the James Show. Let's see. The closest one I can see is Paul. Paul in Irving, you're on the James Show. What do you think about illegal immigrants having guns?
Well, I'm okay with anybody having a gun. The issue I have with illegals having guns is that they're illegal. So if they're caught illegally they need to be deported, and their gun needs to be confiscated and possibly sold on the open market at a discount to citizens.
You know, it really is that simple, Paul. We wouldn't even have to have this discussion if you would just deport illegal immigrants. Do you care if an illegal immigrant has a gun? No, I care if an illegal immigrant is here. Let's send him back, whether or not he has a gun. Kind of indifferent to it. That's almost philosophically perfect. Anything else to add to that, Paul?
Hey, love the show, man.
Thank you, sir. All right, John Keller, you're next up on the James Show. What do you think about illegals having guns?
Well, the problem is they have more rights than I do right now. They're illegal, but they have more rights. They can get away with a whole lot more than I can. They can't. They shouldn't be able to go buy a gun. So how are they going to get the gun? Because they would have to go through a background check to buy the gun at a gun store.
Only if they were doing it through
stealing it or somebody giving it to them.
Right. So, it could be a private transaction. It could be a private sale from one citizen who doesn't know the status
or gift.
Oh, yeah, it could be a gift. Good point. So, I mean, I guess there's a way that they could get it, but isn't that fancy how they just overlook that part? They really are not concerned.
In fact, I'm not so sure that if this ruling takes effect and stays in effect, they may be able to go to a gun store and buy it based on the fact that they're not a citizen. And that would be unfair for them to be imposed the same sort of restrictions that I have.
I don't think that's the case here, but I'm not a lawyer, so I can't really tell you you're wrong.
I just think this could be the first step to getting there.
Yeah, well, I feel like this is the easy first step to, hey, how could we make the situation even more chaotic? Because that's what they want. They if you're going to overturn the system, you have to make everyone uncomfortable with the system as it is. No one's going to want to institute socialism if they feel like capitalism's doing a pretty good job. And so how do they wreck shop and wreak havoc? Open the borders, let them have guns, give them all kinds of amenities to go with it, and step on our abilities to protect ourselves. It's a terrible formula they got going, John. Thank you for calling.
Yeah.
Rick in Dallas, you're on the James Show. What do you think, sir?
I think the left is arming their foot soldiers for the future armed conflict here in America. And it's going to go beyond that. You see in New York City, they are allowing illegal immigrants to become police officers. They're trying to let illegal immigrants join the military to get amnesty. And you see what happens in New York City. You know, Daniel Penny, he's now getting the same kind of lawfare against him that Trump's experiencing. That woman who inherited her parents' house that got arrested for unlawful eviction when illegal immigrants took over her home.
Oh, the squatters, yeah. For those of y'all who didn't see that story, there's it was New York, right? Where she had inherited $1 million house that was left to her by her mom, and squatters were living in it, and so she came to have the squatters evicted, and they ended up arresting her because you have to give the squatters 30-day notice to get out of the house, and she was trying to get them out now, and she wasn't cooperating, so they took her away in handcuffs. Look, Rick, I was thinking about doing that story today, but my takeaway from it's very kind of Spartan here. Well, if that's the case, if this is the rules we have to live under, if someone's squatting in your house and you're not allowed to kick them out without proper notice, and they can just shop over your property all day, every day, just shoot them for trespassing. Just boom. Now come pick them up.
They're going to put you in prison for the rest of your life. And I promise you, this is all interconnected. They are trying to take over the entire system. This is what they want.
Well, they want to collapse the system. They want to collapse the system so they can replace it with their preferred form of government, which is some mutant form of socialism that's not going to work because it fails everywhere these people get into positions of power.
It's even worse than socialism. What it's going to be is an oligarchy kind of designed off. They're really trying to base their system of government off of Brazil or even like a Peronista Argentina. It makes no sense.
Well, that's what they did in Venezuela, from the Chavez to the Maduro family. Thank you very much for your call. All right, this is the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. You can listen all week long to the WBAP Morning Show for your chance to win tickets to see Meghan Trainor. I love her, actually. And me and the kids love her. The Timeless Tour is coming to the Pavilion at Toyota Music Factory October 12th. Tickets go on sale tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Ticketmaster.com. We'll be right back on the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.